Thank you for your patience as we work through some technical difficulties here. While Dr. Rusk and Nick join us, I'm Jennifer Cook DeRosa. Welcome to the first of our 3-event showcase for Destination Liberty. We're super excited to have you guys here. We have 2 really great guests from Liberty University Online Academy. We also have Shelley Cloutier, and you already know her. She is your moderator for our Homeschooling for College Credit, Christian Colleges, and Dual Enrollment Group. So if you can be patient with us for just a couple more minutes while we get this pulled together, Dr. Rusk has a presentation for you guys. Yay! It looks like we're rolling. It looks like it on my end.
All right, let me I have one more thing to adjust. I have so many screens that are open right now, so I apologize that
while he's adjusting that, you guys, Shelley and I are going to try and help and manage the Q&A box, the chat box. So if you have questions right now, what we're going to do is we're just going to limit you to typing those questions into either the Q&A or the chat. Either one of those will work. And if we could not interrupt the speaker, that would be helpful. It's a pretty good sized group today. And so please keep your microphones muted while the presentation is going on. And we'll make sure to have lots of time for questions and answer after we're finished today.
Is our chat disabled? People are saying the chat's disabled.
Oh, is it disabled? Well, that would be par for the course today, wouldn't it? Okay, hold on. And that was an easy fix, you guys. You should be able to all use the chat feature now. If someone could just test it out for me, that would be outstanding. Perfect. Thank you, Ashley. Okay, so we have chat. We are good on chat.
and I am ready whenever you are ready.
Go right ahead and jump right in. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. My name is Dr. Chris Rusk, and I am the Dean and Superintendent of Liberty University Online Academy. And let me just ask real fast. I don't know if is my camera working, or do you just see my presentation?
Both.
Both. Okay, good. Because I don't see myself anywhere, which is fine. So I'm going to keep on looking at the camera. This is always a fun thing to do in the online world. The presentation, why aren't you earning college credit in high school? It used to be should you, and we moved it over from a should to basically why aren't you? I represent, oops, let's see here, try that again. Liberty University, and just as a little bit of a background, Liberty University is the only private online school that has ages from it's an accredited from kindergarten through the PhD program. So we have everything you could possibly want, from an itty bitty kid all the way through the doctorate. Our online academy has, we will end this year with around 18,000 students. The university residentially has approximately 16,000, and Liberty University Online has 110,000. So just to kind of give you an idea of who we are and where we're from. Strong Christian foundation, distinctively Christian. And as I tell my team, that we want Christ to be baked so far into our curriculum that no matter what happens in the future, they'll have to destroy our courses before Christ is removed. So that is our intention with everything that we do. So why dual enrollment? I mean, there's all kinds of options. There's all kinds of different things that you can think about. Let's step back for 1 second and say, if we think about our parents' age, or maybe even from our grandparents, my grandparents, a high school diploma was kind of the idea of what was kind of needed to be successful. And my parents' age, it was kind of the college degree. Now, for my age group, it's looking more along the lines of working towards a master or higher. But for the students who are in school today, the ticket that a lot of people are trying to punch is the idea of earning college while in high school. It sounds strange to say, it's like, why in the world are we doing that? Well, there's a lot of time, a lot of things you can mention. Savings of time. Students, when they arrive at a four-year campus, um, sometimes they have difficulty transitioning over to the level of work at a college campus. And this is one way that we can help our students by, if you take 2 years of college while in high school, you are going to deduct approximately 2 years off your college degree, or you can take your 4 year and take those 2 years out and expand it over 4 years. There's all kinds of ways, but the idea of a time savings is beneficial. Also, for students who do not want to have college loans, this is a great idea. It gives the students time to where they can work and earn money while they're in college instead of having to take on debt. It's also a savings of money. So we are approximately about a 70% discount from university prices when you take dual enrollment while in high school. And I think one of the greatest things is just you're getting high school credit and college credit at the same time. So if your student doesn't have to take 11th and 12th grade English, then go back and then take English 101, 102 in college, it would be great to do that all at one time. Now, of course, not everyone is able to do that. Not all students are prepared for that. I get that, but it is something to think about. So you are talking about saving time, you're talking about saving money, and you're letting your students earn those credits at the same time. Now we have the idea of, okay, what is dual enrollment? I think most everyone in this meeting would know that, but just one time to go over real fast. For an example, you'd have like a biology 101. So what is dual enrollment is just simply on your high school transcript, you are going to receive a high school credit. And then on the college side, you're going to receive, so one high school, 3 college credits. Same thing for math, same thing for apologetics, English, however you want to write it down. The idea is that you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. It's a great way for students to do that. I know that a lot of the students are anxious to get to college. Doing it in high school is a great opportunity. Now, so what is the tuition for dual enrollment? Here at Liberty, we have our tuition broken out. As you can see, it's $274.50 per course. Most courses are 3 credits, so that $549 is the number that you will more than likely see for the majority of our classes. Parents are often the question becomes, well, okay, that's an expense I'm going to have to incur. How do I justify that expense? When you're looking at dual enrollment, you also need to be thinking about it as this is an investment in your student's future and not just an expense that you are currently paying. Especially when parents can say, well, my local community college has a free dual enrollment program. Well, some things that I would like to mention and put out there would be that free is not always free. With a local community college, you have the travel back and forth, other expenses added to it, textbook fees. You have set hours in which you have to be, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11, I have to be there, or Tuesday, Thursdays, or maybe in the evening. So you are set to accomplish that on their time, which is something you need to consider. And I'll skip the next one for a second and go on to the accreditation transfer issues. Sometimes there may be issues with how you transfer credits at some community colleges to some 4-year colleges. I think that's not as challenging as it has been in the past, but that may be something else to consider. But the primary point I would say is my faith would be challenged. It says maybe, but I really believe that majority of the time your faith is going to be challenged. I'm not sure, but I'm the majority of folks, and let me say that I have 6 kids. We homeschooled our kids. So I have a lot of the ideas and a background as far as what some of you may have. Faith was a big issue. When we were homeschooling our children, that was one of the main determinants of why we wanted to do some of those things was we wanted to be very specific and intentional on the faith. My question to moms and dads, so I talk to different parents at homeschool events around the country each year. It's, okay, well, why did you homeschool to begin with? And it usually goes back to that faith-based idea. Okay. And then secondly, when we get to the collegiate for dual enrollment, they come up and say, well, I don't want to pay that money. And I'm like, well, your initial thought was to enroll in a homeschool or at least an idea because of faith. When a student is so close to the finish line, when your student is still impressionable, that may not, the cost factor may not be the right question to ask. And I'm certainly saying, I'm not saying go and get in debt for something, but just be mindful of it. At Liberty, it's fully online with our LUA, with our dual enrollment classes. It's fully online. It's flexible. Your classes are only either 8 or 16 weeks. 8 for the majority of the classes, 16 weeks for mathematics and science classes. It encourages in their faith. All of the professors are Christian professors. They are the actual professors at the university. Your courses are fully accredited. I also teach at the university, and one of the things that I try to make sure that I pray with my students, and I pray often with my students. I want my students to hear that I'm praying for them and that I can love on them. Although we're in an online environment, faith is important. And college, particularly when a student is in a high school taking a college class, that is not the time to challenge the faith. We definitely want to help the students to expand what they understand so that they can face those challenges and so that they can answer those questions. But we don't want to put our students in a position where we have been so careful for so long, and then that last semester or last year or two that we put our students in a realm where it's antagonistic towards our belief systems. So when you think about dual enrollment, don't necessarily think about a dollar price. Think about all of the advantages of having your students enrolled in a faith-based institution. Here at LUOA, we have 3 different ways that students can earn college credit. And I have a la carte here, and we actually are phasing that into a custom path versus a la carte. But we have, so I'll still say it, a la carte, associates, and certificate routes. All of these are arranged for your students where they are at, because not every student is prepared for a college class in the same way as everyone else might be. See here. So on the customize your path, it allows students to choose how many and what courses in which they will enroll. And it's the most flexible of the 3. Now, with this program, the students are limited to only taking up to 36 college credits. They have over 200 courses from which they can choose, but those courses are at the 100 and 200 course levels, which would make perfect sense. This is where a student is, maybe they don't know if they want to go to college. Maybe their grades are such where they make the 3.0 to get in, but they're just not sure if they're ready. Or maybe moms and dads are like, hey, I want my student to be challenged a little bit more, but I don't think they're ready for a full associate's degree. This is the time to put them in a class where they can take a history class, a science class, a mathematics class. Find out the strength of your student. A creative writing class. There's all kinds of classes you can choose. And these classes, one of the great things, they're only, like I said, 8 weeks long. So you don't have to sign in to any particular time period. You have dates in which you have to have work submitted, but those time periods aren't, you have to submit it at 2 o'clock on Tuesday. Very often, the beginning of the week, you see the list of everything you have to do, and then you are working throughout the week on your various tasks. And then at the end of the week, you have to have your work submitted. So is it completely learn at your pace? No, but also it's not restricted down to you have to be in at a certain time. The accountability is great. You want to make sure the students are going to finish on time and not rush through their work. But the customize your path are for our students who, well, most of us could probably say when we were thinking about what we were going to do or be when we grow up, we didn't have a clue, and so we were trying different things. Well, this is one way you can also have your students start trying some classes to kind of see where maybe their strengths and weaknesses might be, to help prepare them for when they arrive on a campus, that they're not going through their third or fourth year and saying, "Hey, do you know what? I don't want to be in this major anymore. I want to switch majors." That's not what we want students to do. We want to make sure they help them to maybe make some of those decisions beforehand. Our associates program. Now, our associates program is an awesome program. It is a great program for students, but I need to define that student. That student needs to be highly motivated and focused. Now, as parents, you know which students you're talking about. I have 6 kids. I have some kids who are highly motivated. I have other kids who are not so highly motivated. So an associate degree program is great, but it's time where moms and dads have to step back and say, okay, I have to be the adult and help my child make the decision. Is the associate program the best option for them? There needs to be an intrinsic motivation. If the motivation is on the outside with mom and dad having to remind your student constantly to submit their work, this may not be the best program. Maybe it would be to do that customize your path program where your students choose a few courses. The associates program, same thing. It has the 8 or 16-week courses. It's taught by Liberty University professors, but their students is actually going to earn a high school degree and a 2-year college degree at the same time. Now, we were very intentional when we tried to go and look at these various degree plans. We want to make sure the students, most of the community colleges that are out there may offer an associate's program, but it's going to be, I don't want to call it a vanilla degree, but it's very general. We believe that if a student is focused, why not help them to focus on the area in which they're wanting to do later? They can take business, education, interdisciplinary studies, psychology, creative writing, history, apologetics, military history, medical office assistant, religion, criminal justice, information systems, paralegals, paralegal studies, STEM mathematics, and biblical studies. What's great about this is that your student, no matter what their idea as far as future pathways, this is going to hit most of them. We've been working with the School of Engineering department to see if we can't also possibly get an associate's in engineering. Now, that's not something that we are have for the next year or so, but we're working to get towards that. One that some parents want is a nursing associate's degree. I don't know that will ever happen at any school, so I'm just going to let you. Those are the big questions. How about engineering? How about in nursing? Nursing probably will never be an associate's degree. Engineering, we're working towards that. This is a great program where the students can be a part of an actual degree. Instead of working at just the gen ed, that they're working doing general education as well as their degree pathway. Also, this is a good time where a student takes those courses and realizes, hey, I thought that I wanted to do business, but the more they're into it, maybe not so much, or maybe they thought STEM mathematics and like, I'm not sure, maybe information systems. So this is a great program. It will prepare students, but let me just step back and say one more time that this is for a highly motivated student. And if a student starts in a program and realizes, hey, it's too much, they can always back down to a customize your path. We start all of our classes, and I should say this, that we start these programs as soon as our students have finished 10th grade. So most of our students who are taking particularly the associates program, the summer after 10th grade is when they begin. Now, depending upon the audience, now I'm not sure if everyone in this audience has homeschool or not. If they are, when I would ask, people would ask my children, what grade are you in? Of course, our kids would always answer, well, which class are you talking about? In mathematics or history or English, they might be at different levels. For our program, you just need to make sure that your student has finished 10th grade. They might have finished 10th grade in a fall semester or in the spring semester or the summer semester. It doesn't matter. And I'll give you some age ranges and things in a minute, but just the program has to begin after the student is finished with 10th grade.
Nick, would you be able to let me field some questions for you on the associate's degree? We have a good bit of questions about the associate's degree in the chat and in the Q&A.
Nick or me?
Yeah. I'm sorry, go
Well,
ahead.
I mean, Nick is in the chat. And
Okay,
so I'm
okay.
wondering if he's able to answer those. Otherwise we can do it on camera. I don't want to interrupt
Yeah, no problem.
your presentation, but we're at the point where you're talking about the degree. And so I don't want to move on if
Right. Well, let me get to 2 more screens, and I
Okay.
think it'll answer some basic questions, and then I'll open up to just the questions.
Okay, perfect.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
All right. So the last option would be the certificates. Now, these are great programs for homeschoolers and for any student, particularly when they want to go out and get a job and not necessarily go to college, but parents are mindful that their sons and daughters probably need to take a few college classes, if for no other reason, that it gives our students a confidence to know that they have the ability to be successful in college, but they may choose a different pathway afterwards. So the certificates develop program-specific skills. They provide a credential certificate, and those also transfer into college degrees. One thing I like for these programs is that often we have our kids wanting to go out and get jobs. Well, a young man or a young lady, when they're out there in high school going to get a job, they have nothing to put on their resume. This is something that gives our students skill sets that are actually credentialed that they can put on resumes to help them get some jobs. Preschool, web development, database, business administration, health sciences, Christian ministries, information assurance, international business, and project management and application development. And project management is a great one because it helps your students to kind of learn how to organize and structure tasks. The students are limited. These are usually 5 to 6 courses. This is the third of the options. The first one, it's a one and done class. You kind of choose what you would like. Second, the associates, it's the full-blown program. It's awesome. And the third, this gives your student a credential that they can have while they are still in high school. Okay, so how do you get started? This will answer some of the questions, and then we'll hop back to the general questions. Our classes start on multiple dates throughout the fall semester, or fall, spring, and summer semesters. There's 2 dates in each term. So there's 6 start dates that a student can begin taking their dual enrollment classes. The student needs to be a high school junior or senior. And what does that mean? That just means that they have to have finished 10th grade. You don't have to wait for the new school year. You can, as soon as they finish 10th, let's hop into get them in classes. Students need to be between the ages of 14 and 19. Why 14? Most students, we need to be aware that the students need to be intrinsically motivated, but they also need to have a maturity level, because some of the classes that they would be taking, particularly in the AA program, are going to deal with topics in the same manner as an adult. Now, these are not inappropriate topics. These are not off-color topics. It's just that there's some topics that you're going to discuss in a college classroom with adults that you would not talk with a 12-year-old. So we made sure that we were careful with the classes that were available, but we want to make sure our students are age appropriate, and the age is 14, where we start. And then we have a limit of 19. So the students need to have, by the time that they turn 19, we'll let them finish that semester, but we won't re-enroll them afterwards, because the advantage that this is supposed to help students who are in school and on track, not necessarily as just a money-saving opportunity for students who should already be out of high school. We need to have a current high school transcript, whether it's from a brick and mortar or from a homeschool. For the a la carte or the new pathway, it's 2.7. For the AA, it needs to be a 3.0. And that's just because it's an intense program for the AA, we want to make sure the students are academically prepared. The students also need to take in this math and English assessment just to verify where they're at on those two skill sets. It's not a punishment, it's not difficult, it's just to make sure that we are not putting a student in a course that's either too easy or too difficult. Let's see here. Okay, so that in a nutshell is our program. And I know there's probably several questions out there, so I will let someone go ahead and start reading those questions to me and I can answer those. I can only be so specific. So if your student is already in a program and it's really, really detailed, I may not be able to answer it. And I just say, hey, write us so we can answer the specific questions. But I will be as specific as I can to make sure that it's generalizable to the entire group.
Okay, so this is for Dr. Rusk. So just for clarification, a student can do 36 credits as the a la carte or the new program. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the new pathway you've got there. Create Your Way or something like that. They can do 36 credits that way. And then when they bump into the next credits, what are their options at that point? Do they have the option of enrolling in LUOA, or are they at the maximum at that point?
It's going to depend. So if they are taking the 36 credits, the students can always move over to LUA. That's not a problem. It's if they're wanting to take more credits and get into the associate's degree, the problem becomes time, because literally starting the summer after 10th grade, our students every semester are in classes until graduation. Summer, fall, and spring, from 10th through 11th, summer, fall, spring, all the way through graduation. So the associate's degree is a very targeted program, and the students have to stay on track. So if they are taking the Customize Your Path, it's difficult after the spring semester of 11th grade. It's difficult to move into that program. Actually, we won't allow students after spring semester. So it might be something where the students take the summer after 10th grade, try a few classes and realize they like it, and then transfer into the AA. But if they've gotten through 11th grade completely and say, hey, I want to try the AA now, there's just not enough time to get all of those courses in there. And we're doing that because it's a rigorous program. I'll give you an example. I had a student who graduated with LUA. She did her associate's program. She came in as a junior. She spent her first semester teaching all of her dorm mates how to do college life. She already knew how to interact with adults. She already knew how to use the learning management system, all of these skill sets that she knew. And she goes, Dr. Rusk, it was hilarious because I spent the past 2 years really, really working diligently. And then I get to college and everything, the time periods were spread out much more. And she goes, it was quite relaxing. So it's an intense program to get all of those credits during your high school. So we just want to make sure the students aren't taking too much at any one time.
And then there was another question. So a lot of students already have college credit. And so the question is, if they decide to enroll in the associate's degree program, can that credit that they've earned from CLEP or other dual enrollment programs be applied towards that associate's degree?
Okay. The problem with if it's a traditional college credit, yes. If it is trying to be a dual enrollment class, dual enrollment classes are based upon hours and not testing. So Department of Education has some restrictions on us where we have to have seat hours equivalents, and you can't take a test and say, okay, I've achieved 180 days worth of schooling on this one test. We have to have something that says, so if you've taken college at a community college and they award you credit, we can accept those. If it is a credit where I clept out of a class, that can be accepted onto your university transcript, but it won't necessarily work downwards towards the dual enrollment. And I hate to say that, it's frustrating, But that's just a restriction in order to, it's just a restriction that we have. And let me just mention one thing about CLEP classes are great. Um, it's just be mindful that when you're going into schools, just make sure that they transfer how they transfer those things. And as long as it's on to a university basis, that should not be a problem. But if it's a dual enrollment, you're going to have some issues to work through.
And we have a question. If a younger student, someone younger than 14, needs to have extra time to mature, would it be okay to have a 5th year of high school? And it says with Liberty University, so I'm not sure if that's specific to the online academy or if that's specific to Liberty, but you could probably speak to both.
That would be it's a one. We treat those individually. We don't necessarily have a gap, well, not a gap year, but that 5th year or senior year. We have seen some parents for older students want to have they'll hold their student back so they can do an extra year of football. I'm not a fan of that, but I'm also we're not averse to parents who understand the maturity level of their students and say, hey, my student is just not ready for this. Can we work with you extending out that senior year? I can't promise anything, but we would have an individual conversation with those parents, and based upon the reasons why they would need that extension, it is possible, yes.
And we have some questions about if they do the associate's degree program, and this is specific to at Liberty University Online Academy, so this would not be an outside associate's degree. Would they still be considered a freshman when they come into Liberty University?
It depends upon how many credits they've achieved. So if they're in the AA, then they would have completed their freshman and sophomore years. If they're taking the other, like the customized path or the certificate, they might have finished their freshman year and come in as a sophomore.
I think they mean as a freshman applicant versus a transfer student.
They would not be a freshman applicant, but they're not going to be penalized because they've taken college credits. I know some folks are concerned about will the scholarship and financing, some of those things, opportunities, will they lose those? And no, they're not going to lose those opportunities, but they would not be a freshman because they would have a transcript on file. That they will receive a college transcript as well as high school transcript when they take dual enrollment classes through us.
Okay, we have another question about Christian Leaders Institute. And we know Liberty University accepts credit from Christian Leaders Institute. Can those credits be used towards the associate's degree?
I'd have to go back and see if those are based on seat hours or testing. That would be more of a one-on-one discussion that we could answer more specifically. So I apologize, I'm not able to answer that one.
Shelley, do you want to read some of these? I think I've missed a few.
Yeah, let me take a look here. Let's see. It says Shen's asking, can you do an associate's path without taking classes during the summer?
Associates, no. There's too many classes. And we have some parents, like my child is exceptional, and I believe that. But I do not, as a school, we determined we did not want to put a student in the circumstances where there was just so much work due at any one time. Just not wise for the students, how much material they can take in at any one time. And it already is a condensed program. We've included a lot of material during those time periods, and we spread it out as best as we could. And that's why it goes back to the question of, once you have hit the spring of your 11th grade year, and like I mentioned earlier, that the different terms, there's two sections to each term. There's the first 8 weeks and the second 8 weeks of the term. So spring, after that first 8 weeks is finished, we don't let anyone transfer into the associates, because there's just too much work that has to be accomplished, and we have to worry about what classes have to come before other classes. And if they haven't taken those things in order, then suddenly you're trying to figure out how to do 2 classes that one might be a prerequisite of the other. It just becomes very convoluted and complicated, and so we don't allow that, unfortunately.
And I want to add one point for clarification, because I know there's a lot of interest. There's always a lot of interest in associate's degrees in our community. So parents, just so that you're aware, you don't have to pursue an associate's degree through Liberty University Online Academy. Your student can still accumulate those credits, and then when they graduate high school and they enroll at Liberty University, the first degree they get can be the associate's. They might have enough credit that you've resourcefully planned and lined it up so that that first degree they can get can still be a Liberty University associate's degree. So it doesn't have to happen like inside of the high school time period. So don't feel like if your student is beyond that cutoff when they open that up for associate's degrees, that you've lost out on the chance for them to get that degree, because that would not be the case. You would just simply do that after you graduated for them from high school. They would apply to Liberty University, and those credits would then come in and be evaluated.
Thank you. That's a great point. Because we've had students in the past who have gone through most of the associate's program, and life circumstances are such that they can't finish the last semester. Excuse me. And some people think, oh, I've ruined it all. No. You haven't lost any of that credit. It just means that you might age out of this particular opportunity. And as you said, when you arrive on campus, you finish the last few credits that you need, and you have that certificate. So thank you for clarifying that. That was a great point.
And speaking of age, we did have a parent ask if there is an upper age for participation, or if it's just grade level.
No, the 19. So they can be as young as 14, 19. Once they reach a 19, that is the last semester they can be in our program.
Okay. And then there
is that
yes, that was the question about
okay,
hitting
okay.
19. And then there was another question about math and English assessments. Can those be waived if students have certain SAT or ACT scores?
Yes.
Okay. And then one more regarding the dual enrollment courses. The dual enrollment courses that the student has access to through the Customize Your Path, are those going to be 100 and 200 level courses? And are there opportunities for them to access a 300 or a 400 level course during their time in Customize Your Path?
I would say 99% of those are 100 and 200 level classes. Occasionally there are opportunities, or there may be an occasional class that at a 300 level, but it would not be the full catalog. The higher catalogs are based upon the associate's program. Also, you have the higher age, or you have the 3.0 restrictions, but the Customize Your Path is really just that, as an idea of, hey, this is your chance to experience college at the 100 and 200 level.
Okay. All right. And as we're probably about 20 minutes left, I want to encourage everybody to put their questions into the chat. If Shelly and I miss one, please, please let us know. We're trying. There's so many in here, you guys. I wanted to make a quick comment regarding the cost when you were talking about the cost, because I know that cost is a big factor. And yes, I mean, we do know that public school is free, and yet we still choose to homeschool, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that price should always be a factor. However, one thing I want parents to think about is when you guys do dual enrollment at Liberty University's online academy, that is counting as credit that they are earning towards their degree at Liberty. And so if they stay at Liberty for their degree, then that is actual residential credit at Liberty. So in other words, if you took that class as a high school graduate versus taking it while you're a high school student, then the cost is that much cheaper. So it's not that 540-ish dollars is
549.
549. That is a fraction of what they're going to pay after high school. And guess what? After high school, everybody pays full price.
Exactly right. And you also, the money you would have spent on your homeschool class for that grade is also something you would deduct. I mean, because that class is counting for 2 levels. So it's just different ways of thinking about how that costs. And I would never want to encourage someone to incur debt or to spend beyond their means. If the community college is where God has you, then that's where you should be. But don't just make that determination strictly on that price point.
Okay, can you explain how many 8-week classes the associate students carry at one time?
Since we have the individual terms, the students are usually going to take in a subterm. So fall subterm A and fall sub, I'll just say A and B just for clarification. The students will take 2 in subterm A, 2 in subterm B. Occasionally they'll take 3 in one subterm and 2 in the other. We try to group our classes together so that they're not taking 3 just crazy difficult classes. We want to make sure that we have maybe a difficult class with and it's a college class, so I don't want to say it's easy, but a difficult class with a lighter class. So the load should be no more than 3 classes at any one 8-week time period, which is great because your student then is focusing on at the most 3 courses at a time for 8 weeks, and then they shift to the next.
And so also on the AA path. So if the student does the AA path and they are planning on coming to Liberty University for their bachelor's degree, there's been a few questions here about how that aligns to the admissions for attending Liberty. For one of the parents asked about foreign language. If not having foreign language as part of the AA will be a problem when the student applies at Liberty for their degree. And then also the other question, which is my question, is how well the Associate of Arts lines up with the general education requirements.
When we were working on the degree completion plans, the DCP for these courses, I met with the various other deans around campus, and these courses fit and are lined with those areas, those various areas. So we in our discussion with those deans, okay, if our students take these classes, your degree might say you have an option of 3 different classes. Which one would make the most amount of sense for a high schooler to do a plan like this? So we handpicked the classes with the various departments to make sure that there should be a virtually a seamless transition from high school to college when they come in. Now, with the any language requirements, we have our students who come with us at like 8th grade. We have them starting to take some of their high school level classes in 8th grade. So that's another question, another thing for moms and dads. If your students are 8th grade now, I would encourage start having them take some of their high school classes in 8th grade to make sure that you get all of your and credits are not necessarily a requirement for a homeschool transcript. I understand, but if those credits are important, make sure you start having some of those classes in younger ages. We have students starting their language classes in 8th grade so that they can get 2 years. 2 years, depending if you have an advanced degree or a traditional degree. So advanced, you'd have 3 years of a language, or 2 and 2, or 2 years of a language. So, for example, 3 years of Spanish, or 2 years of French, 2 years of Spanish. But I would have your students start younger to work towards those types of classes. Easy classes like geography, some of the history classes you can take in 8th grade, some of the science classes. It doesn't, if your student is ready, start them with some of their high school classes. Of course, when you're filling out your transcripts, make sure you annotate or note on the transcript that although the student was in 8th grade, this was a high school credit class. I don't know if that necessarily helps you with the answer towards the language requirements at the university. And that might be something, Nick, if you want to take a look at that one, see if that's something you can help with the answer on.
Jennifer, I had a question here.
Absolutely.
If the student is 14 and through with 10th grade, and they say they have 3 years of high school left, can they take that dual, and they're going to do the customize your path, can they take that dual enrollment over the course of 3 years at a little bit slower because they have 3 years left, or does the clock start with that first course and then they've got 2 years only?
For the customize your path, you only get the 36 credits, 36 hours rather. And you still have to be in high school. So as long as they have not completed their high school degree, they technically are in high school. So you have the time limit, 2 different time limits, right? So you have the last 2 years of high school credits to complete, but you also have the limitation of the 36 credit hours. So as long as you are, if you want to extend that out, and we've had students before who were really young and moms and dads just like, hey, I really do not want to send my student to college and they're 14 or 15. And they're about ready to finish high school. And that's where I said we've extended out that senior year a little bit to help families to allow the maturity level to catch up. So we can help extend things, but we do have some limits on the credit. So if you're in the AA program, you can only get up to that 60. If you're in the customize your own path, there's only 36 hours. So that's our real limit, is that as long as you are still in high school and you haven't achieved those and you haven't aged out.
And then
I don't know if did I help that with that answer there?
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
And for clarity, if a student enrolls in Liberty University Online Academy and is pursuing the AA program within the school, then you guys are also going to be the one to issue the high school diploma, correct?
Correct. That is correct.
Okay. So that could be a factor for a lot of you guys that are thinking about the autonomy piece. Okay. All right, so as we're about 10 minutes to, I just want to ask for last call on the questions, and also let you guys know that Shelley and I can help you with some follow-up questions if you want us to get them to Dr. Rusk or to Nick over at Liberty. We are happy to do that and kind of make sure that those questions that you think of after today get answered too. Okay, so we
Can
do
I,
have another question.
oh,
Oh, go ahead,
sorry.
Nick. Go ahead.
Yeah, just really quick, since we are at the last 10 minutes, I just wanted to remind, I know you guys have mentioned this to the group, but a great follow-up. So obviously, yes, they'll get us questions here, but if anybody plans on attending the next College for a Weekend, it's coming up in the end of February, which is a university event, but we partner with the university. So College for a Weekend is a chance for students to experience college for a weekend. They get a chance to take classes, see classes. I just wanted to let you all know, especially because of the interest of this group, College for a Weekend is a very popular event for us to talk about some of these things as well. So we actually do this presentation there as well. And then some of our administration is available. We can also try to connect you with other resources. And so if you plan on being on campus for that event already, I just encourage you, look for all the LUA material. You can find us in the normal event guide. And then hopefully we'll be able to help you even in person answer some of the questions that you have as well. So you can find all that also on the LUA website. We have a link to CFAL right there as well. And Jennifer, I'll share that with you guys afterwards, so that way you have it to share with everyone as well. So yeah, thank you guys.
And on that note, that's a perfect segue. We are having a Homeschooling for College Credit meetup at the CFA on February 24th. And so we are going to have a meetup. We have a lot of people from our community. They're going to be there. And so Shelley will be there. And those of you guys who don't know, she has 2 sons who are on campus right now at Liberty attending the residential program. We also have our Ohio Homeschooling for College Credit moderator, Hannah. She's coming. Her son is going to be an on-campus residential new freshman at Liberty this year. We have, let's see, who else? We have Melanie Rhodes, who's a parent in our community who has 2 students attending Liberty University right now. Her daughter, by the way, earned the valedictorian scholarship, which is a full tuition, and she is a homeschool graduate. So you can apply for valedictorian scholarship even as a homeschooler where you are in a class of one. And she's got 2 children there, and Erin is our NCAA Facebook group moderator. So if you have students that are doing sports, you might have worked with her, and she is also going to be there. So there's going to be 5 different people, 5 of us from Homeschooling for College Credit that are going to be at that CFA, and we're going to do a little meetup, and information on the exact time and where we're going to be and all that will follow. But yes, so I would encourage you to consider joining us for that event. It's the first time we've ever had Homeschooling for College Credit there. Shelley was at the last one and got to.
Yeah, I would recommend if you are wondering if you should go, you should go. We went in November and it was fun and just so much. It was great. I would really recommend going.
Yeah. So of course, all of the good stuff, but then also to get to meet up with some of the people that you've been in our online community with for so long and put a name to a face.
And I would have loved to met with you all during that time, but I'm actually going to be out of the country, so I apologize. I won't be able to see any of the folks coming to this current CFAL. I did want to mention one thing that ultimately here at LUOA, we understand that God has some wonderful Christian universities across America. We are not here to build a kingdom of Liberty University or University Online Academy. We are here to build Christ's kingdom. And ultimately, wherever your students go, that needs to be with much prayer about where God leads and where God directs. We are excited to work with a lot of different, I have friends that work with different programs. We want to see God's kingdom grow. And we want to see our sons and daughters be prepared to take on culture with a Christian, from a Christian perspective. And I love liberty. I push liberty all the time. But I just want to make sure that I'm making sure that everyone knows that please don't, your child should be where God leads. If liberty is that option, awesome. That's great. I hope so. But there are some wonderful Christian universities in America. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate you, Dr. Rusk and Nick, taking the time to be with us today. And so as we wrap up, I'm going to put into the chat box for you guys a link that is going to take you directly to, directly to the page that shows you the 3 different events that are part of our showcase. Today was the first event. And then our next event is on February 15th. That is a workshop taught by Shelley. And she will be talking about resourceful high school planning for a bachelor's degree at Liberty University and bringing in lots of college credit. Of course, using the dual enrollment program at LUOA is one of our favorite ways to do that, but there's other things that you can do too. And so Shelley's going to talk about that. And then the last event is the live person meetup that we're all going to be at CFA. And so with that, that concludes our program today. I hope everyone got a lot of valuable information. I learned some new things today too. And I look forward to getting your questions that you have. And we will make sure that those get forwarded over to the proper people at Liberty. So with that, thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.